Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Clear.
Welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Homebrew.
Welcome.
I'm Jason. This is Brian. And a carryover from, from ancient times of hunter-gatherers is Warren.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Am I growing on you guys yet?
No.
We tried to kick him out, but he just wanted to stay as soon as he saw all these bells bottles.
That's true.
Once you let me in, and then you start pouring bells, I'm not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. That's true. Yeah, this is the Bells Show, right, Brian? What the hell's going on here?
The Bells Show.
Talk to me. What's happening today?
They're just sending these kits flying out into the world. It's the Bells official kits.
No.
You can get the official kit, or you can get the official kilt. Or you can get the Two-Hearted clone. They send you their Centennial House for that clone, the Bell's Two-Hearted.
That's right. I really want everyone to start writing in and asking Bells for kilts.
Yes.
Or skirts, as I call them, but I'm an asshole, so it's fine.
Right. You're Greek. You don't know better.
That's true. I don't know better. That's true. I would rather go naked and wrestle than wear a skirt and cut peat out of a bog.
Yeah. You guys like wearing olive branches on your head.
I love it, as a matter of fact.
Are you wearing one underneath your hat right now?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. All right. We have a full studio, actually. We have, as a guest judge, it was actually supposed to be Matt's show, but Warren decided to co-opt it a little bit. We have Matt Sager from Danville Brewing Company. Matthew, how are you?
How's it going?
Good, man. How you doing?
Great, thanks.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, thanks for coming all the way out here to drink some homebrew.
He's a pro brewer and a beer judge.
Hell yeah, dude. And an average height guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Average all
So
around,
he's slightly more qualified than me then.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. And then we have the homebrewers du jour, John and Tim. What's going on, guys? Let me turn your microphones on. There you go. How's that?
I think you can hear us now.
Yeah, is that any better?
That's perfect. Tim, do me a favor. Pull that right to your face. There you go.
There. Eat the mic, yeah.
This is the sound of John's voice.
That's much better.
There we go. Nice work. All right, so you guys brewed the official Bell's Two-Hearted clones. And so what we're going to do is we're going to judge them as Bell's Two-Hearted clones, right? I mean, that's pretty much what we're going to do. We have some Two-Hearted as well, right, Brian?
Compliments of my friend Jeff, who was on a previous show, or 2 shows ago, I guess.
Okay.
With his Bell's clone.
So how do you want to do this, Brian? What's the best way to judge these beers? Should we do them first and then try the Bells afterwards as like an aperitif?
I just want to take one of these Two-Hearteds and just go out into the bar and pound it and then come back and grab the other one and
spit it out,
slowly sip it.
Okay.
But no, we've got clones of these beers, and it's a fun one to try to nail. It's best beer in America, a couple years running now. So in the Zymergy survey. So yeah,
Eked out Pliny again.
We were just looking at that before the first show. It's the number one beer in America, which is weird because it's not even sold all over America. So how can it be the number one?
Well,
Makes no sense.
Neither is Pliny.
Yeah, but I would wager that you can get Pliny more places than you can get Bell's Two-Hearted.
Oh, no way.
I don't
Really?
think so.
No.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Yeah,
I
Bell's
don't know
is-
who to look at. You guys are at opposite ends of the studio. I'm here.
You're wrong from all angles right
We're
now.
agreeing with each other, and we're just
surrounded.
hammering you with the truth here.
That's the dumbest
Both
thing I've ever
sides.
heard you say.
Bullshit.
And I've heard you say some dumb things.
God damn, I feel like I'm on a rocky boat right now. I'm swaying back and forth, swiveling at you guys. You think that you can get Bell's more than Pliny?
Yes.
It
Bell's
depends
is
on
almost-
the market. You can't get
You
Bell's
live in
out
California.
here.
You don't see the rest of the country.
Well,
You don't get out much.
The only thing that
No,
matters is
but-
Northern California.
But
Yeah.
isn't Bell's more hyper regional than
You're living
Rush River?
in one of like the last 3 spots in the U.S. that doesn't get Bell's.
See, I don't know because I don't drink Pliny, I don't drink Bell, so I don't give a shit
But
either
you
way.
see Russian River around because you're
I
living in
don't
the Bay Area.
because I honestly, you know what? You would think that you would. I don't. I don't see Russian River at all. And I was at a beer bar the other day, and there was no Russian River.
You need to shop for beer at other places besides Safeway.
I can't because they don't get they get the freshest beer, and that's saying a whole lot. Living out in the valley because nobody has fresh beer. I tried to go to Bevmo. No, it's not. It's not. First of all, people were trying to charge me $12 for a 4-pack of Kolsch. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Whoa. There's no way. Yeah, multiple breweries.
Oh, multiple breweries.
More than one. The price point is $12 for a 4-pack. I'm like, no. First of all, 4-pack? No, come on.
4
what
pints?
Are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, craft is getting expensive.
I don't like it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back down to Sierra Nevada or to Safeway and buy myself a 12-pack of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
I've seen it at Costco, 3 weeks old.
Sierra Nevada?
Yeah. I've bought it.
The freshest I can find it is 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Go to Costco then.
God bless.
3 weeks.
God bless. All right, well, anyway, I don't even know what we were arguing about.
We're going to Chico on Friday.
Bell's. It's a Bell's show.
Okay, it's a Bell's show. So, Brian, you still haven't answered me. What are we doing? Are we drinking the Bell's first or what? Let's go.
I'm not going to answer you.
Damn it.
Let's open one of the Bells. Why not?
Are we?
That sounds like an answer.
Let's do this.
Okay, let's do that.
This is the Bell's show.
All right, so let's open the Bells first. Let's figure out what we're doing. We can get a good. So we have 2 bottles, right?
Get our baseline going. We got 2 bottles.
Let's
so
do
we can
this
do
first.
side by side later.
Do the beers, and then afterwards.
But no. So now only one of our beers is the Two Hearted Clone, and the other one is the Bell's Official, which we also drank a lot of at Homebrew Con, and the Bell's guys were passing out like candy there.
What is that? So one is the Two Hearted, the other is called Bell's Official. What is that?
It's the hazy IPA, JP.
No one told me that.
Oh.
No one told me that going into this.
I told Bev. She knows.
And we were there, and it was very hazy.
Yeah, well, yeah, all right.
Bell's even gave in at this point? That's too bad.
But I imagine it's a good representation of the style. I mean, Bell's makes amazing beers. The rare times that I've ever had their beers, they've been really good.
They don't mess around, yeah.
No. All right, well, this is the classic example, right, of an IPA. Is this a classic IPA or what is
this? This is a classic, a classic commercial style, commercial example of American IPA.
I mean,
it's got some hop haze, a little bit of hop haze to it. This is actually a little clearer.
These are 3 months old.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's lost some of its hop character, is all I can say.
Yeah,
Still, for sure.
But being 3 months old, we were talking before the show. That I don't understand how a beer that not everybody can get can be the number one beer. But this is a good beer. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it, even though it has 3 months on it. I mean, for an IPA, you definitely don't want that.
So, and these guys started out as home brewers too. Bell's. I'm reading from their site. Bell's founder and president Larry Bell began brewing his own beer in the late 1970s after working in a bakery in Kalamazoo.
Damn. So he's using bread yeast.
Yeast and fermentation,
Hell
right?
yeah.
Opened a homebrew supply store, Kalamazoo Brewing Company.
And that's how you do it.
1983.
Yeah.
And that's what later became Bell's Brewing.
Wow.
And now they're huge. I mean,
that's a cool story. Yeah.
It was so weird to find out they had kits and they were selling all this stuff. I thought they were literally just a brewery.
Yeah.
So did I. I had no idea they were affiliated with a homebrew shop or whatever. But
this is their store.
Yeah. Bell's General Store.
The Bell's General Store.
I like it. That's a nice little shirt. Yeah, this beer is a good beer. I sort of. It's interesting because when we did, for example, like the hazy, when that guy shipped us out the. I sort of feel like an asshole, like naming names, but the Heady Topper, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like 6 days old, and it was supposed to be the thing. And we're like, let's figure out what this style is. And I didn't get it. Every hazy beer I've ever had, I go, maybe I could sort of. There was one guy I think we had on the session that was like, okay, I can sort of get why people want.
Right.
Like what people are going for.
If this is how they all were, okay, fine, this can exist.
Like I sort of get it.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get it with it's just an IPA. But drinking the Bells, it's like it is different. It's not as heavy. It's not as aggressive. It's not. It's a sweeter, almost orangey citrus flavor. Not a hop lemon citrus, but like an orange citrus in the flavor.
Yeah.
And I can see why you would like this beer. It leans more towards, somewhat towards the classic end of the style, where it's not like just in your face, like massive hops up front. Like, these days to be an IPA and not think, that tastes kind of like a pale ale, even though it's 7% and it's got a pretty substantial hop nose.
Right.
Oh, it's a pale ale,
some of that
and a half or something. But this leans more towards the classic end of both the kind of hops that are being used. It's all Centennial. It's got a nice, limey, citrusy, stone fruit kind of thing, a little bit.
Limey stone fruit. Not like a British,
mostly lime, citrus, peel, little orange, kind of,
and a moderate malt backbone. Like it's not super dry like a West Coast IPA. And it's not a caramely East Coast IPA either. Like
no.
They represented the geography very well. They kind of split the difference between East and West Coast with the malt bill.
And for a beer to be groundbreaking, and I know it sounds like I'm shilling, and I'm not. I'm really just trying to describe it so then we can knock the homebrew harder, right? I'm trying to set the commercial beer up to then decimate, eviscerate the homebrew guys.
As you should.
Yeah, but don't tell them I said that. No. But for a beer to be sort of groundbreaking like this and become popular and then stay that popular despite brewing trends.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I get it. I get it.
Right.
Well,
I mean, smell this beer. I'm sipping a Founders, Mosaic Promise. It's a pale ale.
I only sniff craft beer.
Yeah. So this is
got him.
Okay.
Rat.
It was out there, and John said it was good. He twisted my arm. I'm sure but the hop is much more intense than the Bell's Two Hearted.
Yep. What I like about it is everything seems to be understated.
Yeah, it's just kind of...
Yeah. It's real nice.
The balance is a lower, more understated kind of, maybe more sophisticated balance, I guess.
But the quality of Centennial they're using is mind-blowing.
Oh, man.
You don't see that anywhere else.
When it's fresher, though, it is way more Centennial-y.
Oh, sure, yeah.
This is super muted from what I remember.
We should try to go there.
Kalamazoo?
Yeah. See if they'll let us go there.
Transport us.
I've heard that it's a little bit like a Willy Wonka type situation.
No,
they might be opening
Dibs on being
up,
Augustus Gloop. Right there.
Right. They might be opening up more to tours and everything, but at least when I was living in Minnesota, they weren't super open.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I like it. I think we have a baseline, Brian, right?
Okay. Yeah, let's do some homebrew. What do you want to do first?
Well, we're going to take a break first, is what we're going to do. And then we're going to come back. We'll talk about it at the break.
Did we mention our friends at 5 Star?
No. You know what? And I didn't even do that on the last show, so I apologize. Go to 5starchemicals.com. Learn all about the best and pretty much the only way to clean and sanitize your equipment. Do it now.
They're the best.
The PBW, the Star San 1-2 Punch-a-rooney, dude. That'll get you right there.
Hell yeah.
I kegged up 2 beers last night, and there was plenty of Star San and PBW flying around my kitchen.
I drink that stuff. It's so good.
The Star San? Or his beer?
It'll clean you out.
I only trust Starzan.
That's true. All right. Quick break, everybody. We'll be right back.
Now, back to the examination.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the Bell's Clone Show. I'm actually really excited about this. It's not too often that we get the clone and the actual commercial beer, so props to your friend, Jeff or whatever his name was. There you go. Good old Jeff.
I wanted to give a shout-out to a listener that wrote to us, and actually sometimes when we're busy talking out of our ass on the show, we get things a little bit wrong, and it's not it's never perfect.
What did Warren do now?
No,
already.
This is my first night Brian, fully Brian and I.
That's your last night.
Don't shoot the messenger here. But
all right.
Our friend
happened?
David Breyer writes in, and
was that one word or was it
David Breyer?
Dave.
So I've heard you guys, I think both the Bryans, talk a couple of times about entering beers in the clone beer category. Since we're talking about cloning Bell's Two Hearted, I thought this was appropriate to bring up again. Section 34A of the BJCP guidelines. The focus has been generally entering a beer to see if it's cloned.
Yes.
Yes. And we talked about Bell's Too Hard. I think we even judged it as a clone.
I believe you're right.
On the HomebrewCon show, one of the HomebrewCon shows.
Yeah.
However, the guidelines themselves actually note, if you read the preambles, and you have to be careful because there's different versions of the guidelines out there on apps that don't have these little preambles.
Okay.
But it says this style is intended for reproductions of specific commercial beers that aren't good representations of existing styles. So if a clone beer if it does fit another style, do not enter it here. So since Bell's Two Hearted is a classic commercial example of American IPA, you wouldn't want to enter it as a clone beer. That's more intended for beers that are kind of weird one-offs that just don't fit anywhere into the, it's a square peg that doesn't fit into any of the round holes that the BJCP declares as a style. And when you enter one of those two, you have to give kind of a general description of, a sensory description of the beer, or you have to list ingredients that are used in the beer and give the judges an idea, especially in case they're not familiar with that style. So, thanks.
But it seems really weird to have a clone style category if you don't have the beer next to it to determine. And then you can write your own sensory description of the beer that you're entering. That seems that you could just write your own medals, bro.
It tastes a lot like this.
Yeah, it tastes a lot. It tastes a lot like the beer that I have, which is very weird. So it should be a 50-point beer. I mean,
right? Gold, please.
Right now,
I don't know that. I don't know if it's the category you're going to get 50-point scores in very easily. Either way,
but you see the dilemma. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. But it does make sense to not enter as a clone, but enter it as the style you're doing.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, who cares if you're trying a clone? Does that make sense? Is it an IPA
to clone,
or is it a pale ale? If it's a pale ale instead of an IPA that you made, it's not going to win in clone beer anyway, because the beer you're trying to brew is an IPA. For example, Bell's, right? So if for some reason I screwed up and dropped half of the grain, I still wouldn't enter it as a clone beer because it's not an IPA anymore. I also forgot
none
what
of your
I'm
IPAs
arguing.
are IPAs anymore.
No, all my IPAs
they're
are
all pale ales
porters.
now. Oh, they're all porters.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting, and I appreciate the astute listener for calling you guys out. I don't have anything to say about it because I don't know shit.
No, he was real nice about it too. It was like, oh wow, yeah. I mean, I actually have the version of the app that I usually work from that doesn't have any of those preambles and the ramblings and the extra stuff in there. So
what is it? Just basically a header before the category that
it's called? Yeah,
says what you're what to expect from
34A clone beer, and this is I'm just reading from the dev site that has the style guidelines. Like this style is intended. I'm like, okay, and it's before you even get to overall impression, aroma, appearance, flavor, mouthfeel in there. So
it's just a general rundown of.
And some styles, have a little preamble, and others don't. But
all right,
yeah, it's.
Well, I like it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is. I had no idea. So you have to have two apps now.
Yeah. I should just bring a copy of the paper guidelines around with me, I guess.
What you should do really is just take a picture of every page and then put all those images into a folder, and then you can zoom in and out and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's drink a beer. Whose beer are we drinking first? All right.
We're drinking John's beer.
John's beer.
John is in my club, the Mad Zymergist, so I'm instantly going to give this beer 10 more points, I think, than... No.
But I'm a multi-clubber. Do I... How do we...
he's a dual club guy.
Oh, man.
Notice the hat.
That's true. It's a Doe's hat. Well, let's pour some beer while we talk about John's hat and clothing attire, please.
Okay.
Shall we do that?
Pour the beer.
Where's the beer? Let's go.
Baby growler here.
It is in the baby growler.
All right, perfect. So, John, have you done a clone beer before like this? I mean, I imagine you have. You've been a home brewer for a long time.
I've done multiple clone beers. This is the first clone beer that's a clone beer, because we're not only just dealing with somebody saying, oh, this is a representation of Bell's. Mm-hmm. It's actually a kit provided by Bell's with Bell's yeast, so it's a clone.
Sure, we can do that. Can I have my beer back? I gave you my glass and you poured some beer in it, and then you kept it. Jerk.
That's me. Pass it down to.
And how long have you been brewing? A while.
I started brewing in my college dorm before the internet existed, so I ordered stuff through magazines. Yeah,
magazine. Warren, what are is that like a Trump thing? Magazine?
Yeah. MAGA. Zine.
Yeah. I'm not familiar.
I wouldn't know. I live in California where we didn't vote for Trump.
That's true. No, nobody here did, and don't ever. Okay, well that's cool, man. I'm looking forward to drinking this. Do we all have some? No, Warren's still pouring. So, Brian, do me a favor. Start us off on this this clone of a clone.
Yeah,
talk about it.
Yeah. And this all started at Homebrew Con. We're interviewing John Mallett and hanging out there, and you and Jeff were there, and they're like, "Hey, you guys want some kits to,
and the Char
to
guy,
brew?" And
we had fun.
Nice.
And they just sent them the kits, and then it turned into this. We've been working on a lot of clones here. We've had more Bell's clones lately than any other clone of anything.
Yeah.
So in John's beer here, we're judging it as a 21A American IPA. Help if I have the right sheet. Getting a pleasant citrusy kind of lime and orangey hop note at a medium-high level. Low bready and light toast-like malt notes. Some moderate fruity esters in there. Clean ale. No DMS or diacetyl. It's low... a low smooth alcohol in there, just a little bit, and pretty inviting nose there. So, appearance-wise, deep golden colored beer, a low white head with mostly finer, creamy-looking bubbles that stick around fairly well, and I would say good clarity. There's a tiny bit of haze, not too much, hardly noticeable. You can see through it quite well. Flavor-wise, I'm getting a medium citrusy lime and light resiny hop alongside a fairly prominent maltiness in the flavor. And this is where it kind of takes a little left turn. It's a little bigger malt than I felt it was going to be when I smelled it in the nose. Finishes semi-sweet and some medium-low bitterness. Just enough to balance, but not as much as some like West Coast IPAs. It's actually pretty nice that is kind of restrained as well in this beer, and it is in the commercial example as well. It's not a big bitter bomb like some of the IPAs from the 90s. Like more IBUs, more better. So the malt is toast, light caramel, still balanced to the hop, clean ale fermentation. The hops and the malt linger into the aftertaste kind of together. The hops went out again. No DMS or acetaldehyde, nothing really bad going on here. It's good. So you could use a little more of the hop, or either that, or if you dried out the body, I think the hop might shine through a little more. I'll get more into the feedback there later, but I'm just trying to figure out why it's so malty and it's a little sweeter. I think it's just the finish of this beer is a little. It seems like it might not have attenuated as fully as it could have. So. Mouthfeel-wise, medium-bodied, smooth and creamy, which is really nice. The carbonation is medium. It's right up to level. We actually have some other bottles that John gave me earlier that we're going to judge, and I tasted at our last Mad Zimmer's Homebrew Club meeting, which he still belongs to. He hasn't fully switched over to Doe's. But we tasted that and it was like, it was just a little undercarbonated. It wasn't pushing some of these nice hop flavors as much. And I like the more carbonated version better. So... there's some faint, smooth alcohol warmth in here. You can taste it's probably a 7%er ish kind of beer, maybe high sixes. I don't know. It goes down nice and easy though. Overall impression: this is a pleasant drinking American IPA.
Yeah.
Somewhat on the sweeter side, also leaning more towards the kind of classic side of the style as appropriate because it is a classic style, classic example that's being cloned here. So. But it should finish much drier, I would say, and then the hop character is going to pop a little better, and it's going to dry off your tongue, make you want that next sip. This isn't anywhere near like a barley wine sweetness or anything either. It's just okay. It's it's a good IPA, but
it's just a little needs a little tweak there, right?
Quite get there. So work on the yeast health and vitality. Use bigger, better starters, maybe. Possibly a little more sugar to dry out the body a bit more. Although if it's a clone beer, you might not be able to adjust that. But it's a fine beer otherwise. I gave it a 36. I think it's a very good beer.
Excellent.
Generally within the parameters, and nice job brewing it.
All right. Matt.
Hi, buddy. I'm going to start off by saying this is the first time that I've ever had Two Hearted So,
Really?
Yeah.
Even I've had it before.
This was a clone recipe, so you still haven't had it.
Matt, your face is too hearted.
Oh, God.
Damn. Got him, dude.
Burn. So I wrote my notes before I tried the commercial version.
Okay.
So take that as I go through this. What I got on aroma, I have soft, almost honey-like malt presence, light graham cracker, almost sort of a lychee nut, honeydew melon fruitiness I'm getting out of this.
Lychee nut. Who is this guy?
He's a tiki god, by the way.
Yeah,
Lychee nut tree in his backyard.
Leeches have nuts?
I wish.
A little grassy for the hop character. Appearance gold to light copper. Very slight haze, but the commercial version had that as well. Long-lasting, tight bubbles. In the flavor, I'm getting some grassy vegetal hop that pretty much dominates up front for me, with a very soft malt. Very low, sort of whole wheat bready malt, maybe a little bread crust, light bitterness that lingers throughout. Nice balance. For the mouthfeel, it's medium body, creamy, like Brian had said. No astringency. Light bitterness persists throughout. I would like for this beer to be more bright and crisp. I'm wondering what the water profile was here. Maybe some more sulfates would bring that crispness out.
Christmas?
Crisp.
Man, I love Christmas.
Yeah.
I do.
It's coming around the corner.
You can put some lights on the pint glass.
Jingle bells, jingle.
I'm curious as to how long you kept those dry hops on.
I will tell you later.
Let's see. Pronounced hop flavor. Yeah, that's about all I get. Other than I would like to have a more pronounced hop flavor in this, other than the sort of that grassy vegetal thing. I gave this a 31. It's a nice beer, balanced, but a little grassy.
You're a bastard. I hate you.
I didn't spit it out.
It's true.
What did you think about the
Everybody
finish?
was watching.
Did you already say finish-wise?
Yeah, let's see. It's creamy. It's medium body. The finish kind of is a little sweet, and it's hanging on my tongue a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of agreed there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warren, are you up for the challenge, bro?
If he didn't like Matt's review, then he's not going to like mine.
-4.
I told you I had 10 points for any Mad Z beer.
Yeah. I gave it a 000.
Damn.
Yeah, no.
Triple digits, dude.
Yeah, way to go. Other than what Matt and Brian have already said, I got a bit of even just like hop resin in the aroma, and a little bit of green tea type character. Like
Sure.
some tea character.
Yeah, I thought it was a little resiny.
And then the resin character even carried over into the mouthfeel. Like I got like a little kind of like oily, like hop oil kind of feel to it, which isn't necessarily bad in American IPA style.
Right.
But just made a note of that. Appearance was spot on. I got a little spiciness too, which Centennial can have. Spice. To me, the more herbal pine character of Centennial was coming out in this beer. A little bit of the vegetal character. So we'll see what you did with the dry hop. But yeah, it definitely reminded me of my favorite IPA in the U.S.,
Which is?
Bell's Two Hearted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's convenient for what we're doing here, especially.
So, yeah, I unfortunately scored this a 29.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm
That's
sorry.
not a sucky score.
It's
But
not?
but it's not a score that I would
Oh, yeah, it says good here.
like get rewards on.
Okay.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, but fermentation and everything was good. I did get some of the honey malt character that Matt mentioned. It did seem a little bit sweeter than I mean, luckily we got to just try Bell's version.
Yeah, or else I would have no idea.
But it wasn't as caramely sweetness to me as the commercial version. It was more honey-like, more simple, just kind of sweet, like almost under attenuated, maybe.
Yeah.
Type situation.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about your fermentation. I mean, let's get into that. It seems to be where everybody's sticking around.
Yes, let's talk about my beer, because I've got a lot to say.
Okay.
Great.
Let's do it.
This was a wonderful, wonderful experiment, and thanks so much to the Bell's folks for hooking up with us in Rhode Island. We had a great time with those guys. So Jeff Bragg, another Mad Z member who is now in Santa Barbara, and I brewed this beer together. Not together, but far apart together. The interesting thing is, both of us, when we received our kits, the yeast is packed with ice packs and so forth, right? And it's their house yeast. It's this very interesting house yeast, which I think I've got the name of it here. Imperial A62 Bell's House yeast, right?
Oh,
so this is
nice.
this is where
proprietary stuff.
It's so interesting because this is not just a clone; it's a clone, right? It's the real thing. So we both got the yeast. We both said, "Oh my gosh, it was like 80 degrees when we got it from FedEx or UPS or whoever delivered this stuff." I threw mine in the fridge. Jeff threw his in the fridge. He brewed his a week later. I brewed mine 3 weeks later. I made a starter. He didn't make a starter. And this is where it gets interesting, right? So I know this is under attenuated by far. Their numbers for the finishing gravity on this beer should be 10-10, 10-11, worst case scenario. Even with a starter, I could not get this to go below 10-15, which was unusual, right? So I had this lovely starter. I'm on this great, beautiful Hichechi water that we get in San Ramon. We have great water. We don't have to doctor it much at all. Yet I could not get this beer. I roused. I let it go for two weeks, 4 days, something like that. Not typical for a small beer like this. So it is malty. Now, personally, I love a malty IPA. This is right in my wheelhouse. I think this is delicious. The Centennial in this is very pronounced. And we tasted a 3-month-old bottle of Bell's. It's a little softer on the Centennial. Mm-hmm. This is how we tasted it in Rhode Island when it was fresh in those cans, Brian.
Okay.
You remember that? These were bright. They were
brighter,
super citrusy and just lovely. So I think my hops hit it, but it's definitely on the malty side. And you guys all got that, which I think is great that
I
you're
like the resin
out.
and the citrus. To me, sometimes Centennial is kind of a limey character, and it just comes right through. It's nice and bright.
Yeah, and I checked my mash temp. Everything I hit my exact mash temps based on the recipe. All the ingredients they provided, milled those things fresh the night before, so the grain was super ready to go.
It didn't come milled. That's
no.
Cool.
These were all whole grains, and they were, however old they are, shipped directly to me for a 4-day shipping.
Yeah. What did Jeff get his gravity down to?
That's the secret question. He would not tell me. So I don't know if you guys remember how his tasted. Was it as malty, or did he get it drier?
It was drier.
Which baffles me. Maybe he doctored his water and it helped the yeast. I don't know.
Well, we also did taste it was from a growler that was already half full. It was already opened. So we had some carbonation. For me, it wasn't as carbonated as the commercial example. So would that have anything to do with it as well?
Are you talking about this one I just
brought? The homebrew, yeah.
Try that one. So I brought the one I originally bottled, which is super undercarbonated.
Well, then why am I trying it?
Because if we're
proving a point that it's undercarbonated, why would I try? I'm not going to try it.
You really
I'll
should.
try it now.
It'll give you a great view into. That's the exact same beer, just a week earlier and undercarbonated. Nothing different.
Let me taste that one.
And it's a malty beverage.
It should accentuate the sweetness.
It's a little touch more carbonated, but it's still undercarbonated. So my point is still
the bottle has more carbonation.
Touch.
No.
I think than the growler.
The growler I thought was like 10 times more carbonated. Well, you guys decide. You're the judges.
That's what I mean. We opened it before the show, and then we poured it on the show, so it was already sitting half open anyways.
Yeah.
But
it's not doing it a favor.
Regardless, right. The question is, would more carbonation help the sweetness of this beer?
No, not the sweetness, the dryness.
Yeah, I think the bottled version is falling a little flat. It's
Yeah.
all
right. Well,
lighter.
what conclusions have we come here?
John should never brew again.
Done. Retired.
I concur.
Yeah. Well, you think it was more of just a fermentation issue, John, because of the yeast?
It's a super unknown because I made a starter. I know Jeff did not. If he beat my gravity, I have no answer to that.
Okay.
Tell me about your water.
Tell me about your face.
Oh, my God. I give up.
No, we've got, Hachechi water is some of the best, cleanest.
Right.
It's middle of the road, sulfate, calcium chloride. Everything is really nice in the middle. So I don't doctor much of anything. Only when I'm going to the bitterest stouts.
Yeah.
Or the softest, maybe like a Kolsch that I'm making, would I screw around with water at all?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your temp control situation?
It's all thermoelectric to a quarter of a degree.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I did everything by the numbers. It just didn't finish. And
Yeah.
I cannot explain.
That's what I was just wondering, because it dropped clear for the most part. So that's what I was wondering if maybe you had a temperature fluctuation and caused the yeast to just stop fermenting.
Yeah, I actually roused it in the second week, as I'm waiting for this stuff to finish out. It just was the weirdest thing ever, especially with a starter.
Yeah. Your water doesn't have very many minerals in it at all.
No.
Do you add any to bring it up?
I
to
always
a certain
put
level of
a
calcium?
good amount of yeast nutrient and stuff in there, but I'm not doctoring the water per se.
Calcium.
No.
Where's your
Sulfates would help
Sulfates.
this, I think.
It would. It probably would. In this
Yeah.
particular one, yes.
Yeah, because the the actual two-hearted has a little bit of a kind of a toasty malt edge to it, and this it lacks the minerals, and the sweetness too, with the finish a little bit sweeter too, it comes across a little more kind of caramelly sweet.
Agreed.
So
Yeah, it's definitely a malt forward version of
I'm
it.
dropping your score by a point.
Yeah, I would drop it by 10 at least.
Yeah, I was really nice to it.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, good job, John.
I don't like to judge when people are sitting right next to me. That's what I told them earlier.
I don't blame you. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to tackle the next beer. Hang on, it's Dr. Homebrew.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Kings.
The leader in affordable, high-quality kegerators is here. Introducing Komos, the kegerator designed with serious beer drinkers in mind. It features an all-stainless steel draft tower, a major upgrade over traditional chrome-plated brass towers, and Komos keeps your new tower cold with their air-cooled tower fan, wrapping your beer lines in frigid coolness. Your beer is poured from innovative forward-sealing faucets that don't leak, so they stay cleaner for longer. Dual gas inlets on the rear of the fridge allow you to run both CO2 and nitrogen gas. Serve your beer with CO2, serve your kegged wine, or even cocktails with nitrogen. The digital temperature display has the largest range available, allowing you to use the Komos Kegerator for fermentation if you need to. And now Komos Kegerators ship with duo-tight draft fittings for that click-to-connect assembly we've all dreamed of. Buy direct from KomosDraft.com and receive free shipping on your order. That's KOMOS Draft.com.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I have a hazy beer in my glass, and I don't know how to feel about it. But Tim is here, and he brewed this beer, right, Tim? What's up, man?
That's right. How's it going?
Not too bad. How you doing?
Doing well.
So this is a hazy beer kit that Bell's has as well. I assumed these were all Bell's Two Hearted, but this is, what is it called? Original?
Bell's Official.
Official.
It's their hazy IPA.
Hazy IPA. Tim, have you ever brewed one of these before?
I have. I've brewed
You have?
some.
Well, of course you have. You're a home brewer who is a craft beer guy. Who hasn't, right?
That's right.
All right. Do you like this style? Is it a good style for you?
I do like the
You
style.
enjoy
I've
it?
had several examples from the major breweries.
Get that mic
brew
right.
them.
Yeah, no,
So-
pull the mic to you. That'll be much more comfortable. There you go.
Much better.
Hell yeah, boy.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, I've had the primary examples from places like Other Half, Treehouse, Trillium.
Okay.
So, like those a lot. And I brewed a few of these. Had one go to the second round of NHC last year.
Nice. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's in my wheelhouse.
Okay. Perfect. And have you had the Bells
I have not.
official? Okay.
No. Lots
All
of
right.
Two-Hearted. Have not had the fish.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Has anybody here had it?
Yeah, we had a bunch of it at conference.
Okay, good.
Did drink the bejesus out of it at conference.
Good.
Okay, perfect. Well, Brian, go ahead and start us off again, since you're you're my official.
Aw.
Yeah.
All right.
So cute.
So the nose, pleasant fruity quality up front. It's a light tropical and stone fruit quality to it. Medium high esters, clean, very clean, no DMS, no diacetyl. Kind of a low backgroundy, clean, neutral, bready base malts in the background. Shouldn't be really heavy in there anyway. It's not exhibiting any big sweetness. Appearance-wise, it's a very pretty beer, actually. Really a light orangey yellow color and a moderate haze. It's not murky like some of you. It looks like chunks of flour floating around in your beer or something. It's not one of those hazies. It seems like it's done right. Excellent head retention, fine, very fine bubbles, and some lacing on the glass. Really pretty beer. I gave it a 3 for appearance. Flavor-wise, I'm getting some nice pleasant hop aromas with notes of pineapple and guava. It comes out a little better in the flavor. The nose was maybe a little light. I would have liked a little more kind of juiciness in the nose, please. But for one of these, it's in the flavor, it comes out a little better. And it's soft, though. It's nice. It's balanced to the hops. The malt is low and just kind of supporting a little sweet and grainy, low and out of the way bitterness, but clean ale ferment. I couldn't really find anything to fault it with here, other than maybe a little more hop would be nice, but it's a good place where it is, and some of them do, understate a little bit. It's got a nice little fruity quality to it. Body-wise, or mouthfeel, it's medium-bodied, very, very smooth and creamy. I really actually liked the presentation of the, just how the beer presented itself. It's just a nice, creamy, smooth mouthfeel. There's no astringency whatsoever. Medium carbonation. No obvious warmth, but I'm sure there's some alcohol in there. It's just kind of middle of the road, just smooth alongside the other smoothness. So, overall impression, it's a very pleasant drinking New England IPA. We actually dug up the guidelines on the dev site. The BJCP has actually published a 21B specialty IPA guideline for New England IPA. If you search for it, you'll find it. And you're reading through this, there's a lot of what's there is there. It's just maybe a little bit more hop aroma and flavor in there would be nice. Can I say juiciness? But yeah, nice job overall. I thought it was excellent. I gave it a 38.
Wow.
I couldn't find a lot wrong with it. Just like a little more hop would bring it into 40s plus.
All right. Big numbers from Brian over here.
So I don't want to rain on Brian's parade.
I'm not having a parade.
But in order to prevent the emails that are about to be typed right now,
okay,
the special dev description of New England IPA said both in flavor and mouthfeel that creaminess is a fault in this style.
Oh,
creaminess is the fault.
Yeah, inappropriate and a fault.
Well, I'm thinking of creaminess as like smoothness, like the smooth, not like a creamy
and
texture like cream in your mouth, but just smoothness. And I think of I don't know, in my Jedi training, creaminess is the opposite of astringency almost. But in a way, I know it's not. So retrain me. I don't know.
Oh, you're the BJCP master. I'm just a professional brewer. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
You know what you're doing.
I could just read. I just read what's given to me.
Can you, though?
I mean, I squint at it.
Well, Brian's going to look that up.
Let me see what it is.
Let's let Matt go with his scores, and then maybe we can reconvene. And during the break, I'm like, let's leave. Let's get this done. And then here comes Warren. Go ahead, Matt, please.
Okay, so like the last one, I had Two Hearted for the first time tonight. I've never had this one commercially, but I don't get out very often. So, this was a really nice beer. Actually, the aroma I got a really nice grapefruit pithy peel note, a little grassy, not very tropical though. Very clean malt, very neutral fermentation character. Hop aroma that dissipates fairly quickly. Actually, I kind of have to search for it a little bit as it warms up. Appearance, beautiful beer, yellow hazy. It's not very milky, which I like. Long-lasting foam with nice tight bubbles. Flavors, very nice citrusy grapefruit peel. Little like underripe pineapple up front, leads into a creamy sort of oaty quality.
Creamy.
I know. Very low bitterness, but that's the style. Malt flavor is sort of white bread-like, and a hop flavor that dissipates fairly quickly. Finishes real nice, dry and crisp in spite of the creamy mouthfeel. There's no astringency. Overall, it's a really nice beer with very neutral yeast character for style, actually. Mm-hmm. I'd love more fruity, tropical, juicy character. It's we read the style guidelines that it said overall impression should be massively hop flavored. I didn't find this at all to be massively hop flavored, as the guideline suggests, but it's very understated and really nice and crisp. I gave it a 37, so I really liked it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Warren.
Well, so now I don't know because of this creamy debacle.
So, in the sense of creamy that they're talking about is that it feels like cream in your mouth, or that it feels starchy or thick. Okay. And that I'm not getting, but I'm just saying like kind of creamy smooth, and I think maybe that's that sense you're tying.
All right.
I know these people at the BJCP. I could talk to them about and find out maybe their intent. This is also not an officially published guideline. This is just a proposed kind of placeholder for what they want.
Well, so my score reflects kind of docking for the creamy kind of heavy or mouthfeel that I was associating with actual creaminess. So just keep that in mind.
Okay. Well, you can also adjust on the fly, sure, if you wanted to.
Sure. Then fine, I will.
You're not turning these in to be graded.
Oh, great.
But go ahead.
So I definitely noticed the smattering of tropical and citrus fruit character, but to me the aroma did stop short of the juicy moniker that the style has. But still pleasant. Got a little bit of like a honey malt character going on. And then the appearance was totally fine. To me, the head seemed a little quick to dissipate from what I would expect in this style. But I also thought the bitterness was a bit more assertive for what's average, which to me was preferable. I like when these tend to be more on the bit more bitter side for what average is.
There's nothing there to balance it.
Right. Yeah. So I enjoyed it, but to me, for the style, it seemed a bit aggressive. So all things considered, I would give it another 36, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
King of the 36s
with a new creamy definition.
No.
I would bump it up to
I think
36.
it's going to be 25 to 60 So I think what they're saying is part of it is just in the introduction to the style. It's like you want to still make sure it's a drinkable IPA, and it's dry enough that it just goes down smooth, and you want another sip. It's not big and sweet and murky and like drinking a milkshake or something.
That sounds good.
It was smooth, that's for sure. But for me, this isn't my style, and so to me it just felt heavy, and so I associated that with creaminess. Not sweet heavy, but just thick.
All right.
Yeah.
You can talk. You have a microphone. Whispering doesn't really work very well.
No, I just want to add one thing. So this is John talking. When we were up in Rhode Island, one of the things we did was at club night. This is where all the local homebrew clubs in the New England area are out there with all their beers. I tried every hazy IPA I could, and I found I didn't like them as much as I thought I did. Because I think the way we make...
Kill that style.
The way we make hazy New England IPAs in Northern California, West Coast, has nothing to do with how they really should be. And I think they're very different. They're much drier, more bitter, more hop forward than I expected in New England, versus how ours are a little bit more juicy, much more fruit forward, much more creamy. Creamy, here we go again, the creamy thing.
Well, just soft.
It just was so different. And I said, maybe I don't know what a New England IPA is supposed to taste like because I'm not from there and I'm not drinking those.
I got a brief education there, but it was eye-opening for sure.
And so I love this from a West Coast version of it standpoint, but very different.
Can we talk to Tim about how he...
Yeah, I was going to say, John's already had his segment. Like, we don't need... Tim, what's up, dude?
How's it going? This is super interesting. From the bitterness perspective, I think, first to address Warren's point, something interesting with this beer is that in the recipe, it's no bittering hops at all. It's 15-minute flame out, kind of whirlpool edition, and that's it. However, that being said, through the brew day, pump fell off the bench, broke, so I wasn't able to actually push it through my wort chiller, and I had to go with the immersion chiller. So the 15-minute hop stand turned out to be about 30 or 40 minutes.
I was going to guess the broken pump.
Potentially got a little more bitterness on there. I also had to lift a kettle with about 8 gallons of wort in it onto a table. In order to gravity feed it into the fermenter. So
nice.
It's a little physical challenge in addition to the brewing challenge.
All right.
It was also 12 o'clock at night. Which,
well, we're almost getting there. So,
yeah, for sure. And then on the creaminess, I mean, I've like I said, I brewed these before, and I try pretty hard to add a fair amount of calcium chloride into the water. So there's about 200 parts per million of calcium chloride, about 75 to 100 of sulfate. So it should come across as fuller body and have a little bit more of that mouthfeel to it.
Okay.
Accenting the sweetness rather than the bitterness.
Sure.
So,
well, those of you who've had this commercial style, what do you think? You think it's pretty close?
I was
pretty
8
good.
years in at a conference, and from what I remember, it wasn't like the biggest, juiciest. It's like kind of like the balance is a little more understated, like the 200 ale is to regular IPA, to classic IPAs.
Yeah,
it's not like a hop bomb monster. It's just a good, clean, even balance, and it works, and it's smooth drinking. This is the same. The official was just a nice, smooth drinking hazy. I don't really seek the hazies out so much, but I kept a couple cans when they were.
Well, and the line was so long for the Bell's table.
Of course.
It was ridiculous.
It was,
I love how crisp this finishes. I really do. It begs another sip.
Yeah, it finished at
surprisingly,
finished at 10:09. It's the same yeast that John used. It's the Bell's House yeast, which is actually really interesting because I think it points to the fact that it's not the yeast in suspension creating the haze. It's nothing like that. I mean, it's basically 40% Pilsner malt, 40% white wheat, and the rest flaked oats. That's it.
It's protein.
So wheat, no.
Interesting.
Protein, yeah.
How does the bitterness compare to the commercial example? Do they also...
It probably is a little bit more bitter, yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit more bitter. But, I mean, the bitterness to me wasn't totally out of line. It can go up to 60 IBUs on this style, and you are getting, when you whirlpool, and sometimes they whirlpool the hell out of these beers, you get some bitterness there.
Yeah.
Same with dry hops. You'll get perceived bitterness out of dry hops.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is double dry hops.
I do 2 additions.
Oh,
damn. How many ounces do you remember?
I've got it here. It's not as much as you would think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not these big kind of 5
ounce
pounds per
editions,
barrel kind of thing. It's pretty low.
Yeah.
Crazy.
A couple few ounces for 5 gallons or something.
Yeah, it's about ounce and 2.5 ounces on the second dry hop, 1.5 on the first.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. And
Cool.
What's the hop? Is it all Centennial?
No, it's Mosaic, Citra, El Dorado, and Osaka.
That's what I thought. It's more of the tropical, the more modern hops. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Makes sense.
I drove the fermentation a little higher. So I think on the package it said 68 to 72. I kept it at 72 until it was about 80% complete, and then bumped it up to like 75 and let it run from there. So that's
Dried it
probably
out
a little
nicely,
bit more of the ester profile you're getting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, guys, for coming in, bringing these beers, and making these kits.
Thanks to Bells.
Thanks to Bells.
Enjoyed it. Thanks, Bells.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bells.
Yeah, that was interesting, man, because it's neither style is anything that I drink normally. So I'm just lost here. I'm depending on you guys to tell me what's going on.
So different than your normal life.
It really is. What? But it was cool to, again, the commercial sample and to try these other styles from an iconic brewery. I think that was really cool. So
Have some fresh Bells.
thanks for the Bells people for hooking us up with some of these kits, and thanks to you guys for listening. And if you want to be on this show and send in some homebrew, email Brian at thebrewingnetwork.com. And if you want some more homebrew radio, check out all the other stuff we have on thebrewingnetwork.com. Otherwise,
we're looking for a few good beers.
There we go.